Hey viewers and friends, Andrew back again, and I'm here to finally give my review on the Evil Dead remake. I know a lot of you have been eagerly awaiting my opinions on this film, so here it is. This one had an interesting release here in Australia theatrically, and I was very excited to be able to check this one out in theatre, or at least I thought I would be able to. To my surprise, one of my local theatres had this listed that they were screening it, which is a pretty big deal because most of my local theatres never screen horror movies, which really sucks. But so I had all intentions to check this one out in theatre until Sony decided to be a bunch of fucking retards and pull this from the majority of cinemas in the whole of Australia. Because of the R18 rating, they simply didn't think it would make enough money for them. So I think only about half a dozen cinemas in the whole of Australia actually had this screening. So I didn't get to see it in theatre, which was a real shame. I was really pissed off about that actually. And that's probably one of the reasons why it's taken me so long to check this movie out. But I decided it was high time to watch it, so I rented it. And I've just finished watching it about half an hour ago actually, so definitely wanted to upload this review. Now, being a pretty big fan of the original movie, which I think is an absolute classic, I'm not as big of a fan as some of you are, but I love the original Evil Dead. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So I did have really high expectations going into this one, and it was certainly very anticipated. So yeah, I've got to say my expectations were actually surpassed this time around. I loved this movie. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. This is how you do a frigging remake. Finally, a truly excellent modern remake to a classic horror movie. For me, it's pretty much on par with the original film. I really can't decide which one I prefer, which I think is definitely a good thing. There's some things I prefer about the original and some things I prefer about the remake. I've got to say, pretty obvious one, I definitely prefer the character of Ash from the original movie compared to any of the characters in this one. And I've got to say, the atmosphere in this movie let me down a little bit. I was expecting it to be more atmospheric than it was. That was a little bit too polished and slick for its own good, I think. They could have toned down that a little bit. The original definitely beats this movie out in terms of atmosphere. The original has got some absolutely fantastic camera work, especially at the beginning of the movie, and it definitely surpasses this one in terms of atmosphere. But other than that, in my opinion, both films are pretty much on par with each other. I feel that this is a fantastic addition to the franchise, the series, a great modern adaptation to the classic original film, and I really am glad that they changed it up a little bit. They brought entirely different characters into this one. The main female character was an interesting choice, and I think it worked really well. Mia was awesome in this film. The rest of the cast were really good as well. I didn't have any issues or complaints. They all did a fantastic job. The storyline in this one I did quite enjoy. The whole sort of focus on Mia trying to beat her drug addiction was pretty interesting. And I kind of enjoyed the storyline a little bit more in this one than I did in the original, I think. The effects in this one, absolutely fantastic. Not quite as gory as I was expecting it to be. A lot of people hype this up to be gory as hell. And don't get me wrong, there were some fantastic gore sequences and they were extremely well done. But it was nowhere near as gory as I was expecting. I think the gore levels were pretty suitable for the movie, and perhaps if it had been more gory it might have been a little bit too much. The ending sequence was absolutely fantastic with the showdown with Mia. Holy shit, that was awesome. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone out there that hasn't seen the movie, but absolutely awesome ending. There were some pretty cringe-worthy moments throughout to do with some of the effects and everything. The knife through the tongue was awesome. I really loved the bathroom scene as well. That was pretty full on, but a fantastic scene. But yeah, all in all, this movie was absolutely amazing. I loved it. And yeah, I'm just glad finally someone actually made a awesome remake. Has been a long time coming, and I've got to say this is probably the best modern remake since The Hills Have Eyes. I'm not sure if I prefer it to The Hills Have Eyes, but it's definitely up there. And since The Hills Have Eyes, you know, in my opinion, easily the best remake to a classic horror film. So it really does show me that, you know, some remakes do work really, really well. I just wish, or I hope, that anyone that plans to remake a classic horror movie in the future watches this movie and takes note, because in my opinion this is how it should be done. So I absolutely loved the remake of Evil Dead. It surpassed my expectations in pretty much every way. I do think it's pretty much on par with the original film, and it's definitely a movie that I'm pretty excited to be adding to my collection, hopefully very, very soon. So did take me frigging ages to watch it, but better late than never, and in my opinion it was totally worth the wait. I had an absolutely fantastic time with this movie, and what a movie to come back to, because I have taken a break from movie watching for almost a month now, and this was a fantastic movie to you know, get me back into movie watching. So I would give this a score of 4 out of 5. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, loved it, and I highly, highly recommend it. So guys, if you've seen this movie, I'm definitely keen to hear your thoughts on it, so let me know in the comments section below. If you have not seen this movie, obviously I highly recommend it. It's readily available pretty much everywhere, either rent it, buy it. There's a few different editions. I haven't quite decided which edition I plan to pick up for my collection yet, but I'm going to do a bit of research and look into that. Anyway guys, that's been my review for the Evil Dead remake. I hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks a lot for watching.